Okay. Uh. Oh shit. Oh, what's a pirate's favorite letter?
Pirate's favorite letter. Now, I've heard this one before. I'm assuming it's R, but that's pretty. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Is it R?
You'd think it'd be R,
R.
but 'tis the sea that he loves.
Oh my god. I haven't heard that one yet. I'm not gonna lie.
That's the one.
That's funny. But the sea.
Okay. So our first segment are roses and thorns. I'll go first, and then you go last.
Sounds good.
Cool. So my oh, and then one thing I forgot to mention. You have, because with my kids, you have to put an I feel statement with your rose and thorn, with an emotion or feeling word. So I'll give an example.
Okay.
So I start with my thorn. My thorn is that I'm very upset and frustrated that I was supposed to go to San Francisco to meet my partner Bia, to be with Bia, for New Year's Eve, and yeah, I chose Southwest and I got things canceled.
Boo,
yeah.
Southwest.
Boo, Southwest. Seriously.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I couldn't. Yeah, I tried to actually. Yeah, yesterday during the game, I tried to rebook it, and did I tell you this? Did I say this? That the next available flight would leave Saturday and wouldn't arrive until 11:30 p.m. New Year's Eve.
Oh, that's a stretch.
Right.
That's a big stretch.
I only have 30 minutes to celebrate.
Just 30 minutes. You got to travel to get to wherever she is, right, too, and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So frustrated and upset about that. My rose is I feel excited that this is the first recording of this podcast.
Yeah.
We're getting it there. And then I went through a whole bunch of different setups of using this and outside and what programs to use and all of that. So it's but I think I'm ready. So I'm excited.
My thorns for the week probably would be, I've been really anxious lately.
Oh yeah.
Super anxious. As a kid I grew up loving Christmas. Loving it so much. I still love Christmas. It just hasn't been the same. And I think, a lot of people, including myself, like I'm saying, are going through the same stuff as well. Like Christmas just doesn't feel what it used to be.
Do you want to share more about that?
I'd say just family time. Family time is something that I'm working on, because throughout high school and through college, when everyone was in college, I wasn't really around my family too much. I'd always be out and about. I just didn't spend that much time with my fam, and I'm learning how to do that more so now. But it's still hard because I'm not used to it yet still, and yeah, and I'm also adopted, so I have a biological family as well, and I don't see them. Last time I saw them was a year and a half ago, and so holiday season is when they reach out to me, and I try to work with them, not work with them, but try to see them as well, and it's just very stressful because I gotta I'm trying to be in their life too, but they live far away, so not even that far, but for travel purposes, for me it's far.
It's is it the same thing for both the bio family and the adoptive family?
As in how I feel?
Yeah,
I'd say majority. Yeah, it's, I think, it's kind of hard. It's hard when my bio fam, they came in my life when I was 16, so I was already late. So to adjust to that already was a lot, and then I started to hang out with them, got to know them, got to know my siblings, more siblings.
Oh.
I went from one sibling to having 6 other siblings in a day.
So 7 total, including you?
Yeah, 7 total. And so, it was a lot then. It still is a lot now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's only recently where you've given more of your energy to and time to family time, quote?
Yeah.
And you're not used to that.
Yeah, and even when I'm with my family, I try to be happy,
Yeah.
super happy, but
I hear you.
I never they never experienced this side of me,
What do you mean?
like with my friends and like anybody else, like the way I talk. I sound like super duper happy because I feel happy, like I feel comfortable, super comfortable. And then when I'm with my family, since I feel like they know me obviously because they've been with me my entire life,
Yeah.
but there's just like something about it where it's like I can't.
Is something?
Yeah, I just can't. I don't know. I'll be like, Merry Christmas.
Just not feeling it.
Yeah, I just don't feel it really. And it's. Yeah, but I love my families. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not really anything on them. It's more just me, and how I take in love, I guess, with my families and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not like they're actively doing things that are bad or malicious.
Right. They're all super supportive of me, So that's, yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Oh yeah, no problem. And then, what was it? Rose? Yeah. Rose of the week? Man. Definitely, I'd say hanging out with 312.
Yeah?
Yeah, always.
You got a feeling word? You got a I feel for that?
Yeah, always, man. It's fun. It's great. I feel free. I feel like I'm with my brothers.
We'll see.
Right, we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Okay. Next, about teaching artist practice, a rose and a thorn. Well, actually, let us know, like, what's your, like, how long you've been teaching, where you teaching, where have you taught, where do you teach it now, the ages.
Where I have been teaching?
Yeah.
Or where I have taught? Well, I first started teaching, I guess you can say, in high def dance ensemble.
All right.
With Tangi Harper.
Mm-hmm. With ASM.
Yeah, ASM. Shout out Tangi, always got to give the shout out.
Yeah.
It was a great program. She brought in a bunch of choreographers from all around the states.
Yeah.
And also gave the students teaching opportunities for our shows at the end of the year and everything. So my first time ever teaching was in front of like 50 other kids, which is kind of crazy because I was so nervous. And that was like 2017 or something like that. And then from there on,
it was your peers, right?
Yeah.
People your same age.
Yeah, all the same age, but I was kind of like a underdog, right? Like nobody's seen me choreograph before. Like I remember staying up the night before and being like, this has to be perfect. Like this needs to be great. So like, I can get that approval that I am like good enough.
Yeah. Because in your mind they're judging your teaching, but also if you're teaching a choreo class, they're judging your choreo too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Visceral, I taught at Visceral. That's right, I did teach at Visceral. Taught there for 2 years.
Okay.
And that age range was 6 or 7 and 8 year olds and like 9 and 10 year olds, like that whole range.
Was that mainly choreo?
What was that?
Choreo,
like classes.
Yeah.
They're like what do you call them? Season classes. What do you call it? Recreational class with the recital at the end. A whole little season long.
Yeah.
With the recital.
I guess I'm saying, like, was it like technique classes or choreo classes?
Oh, was it Oh yeah, it was choreo classes. Oh. Yeah. Try to do some basic movement, all beginner classes. Trying to get the kids to move their feet a little bit.
Right.
And then I also teach at Soul to Soul Dance Studio, Dance Inc. Yeah, in Highland Park.
Okay.
And then I also teach at Inspire.
This is currently.
Yeah, these are current. These two are current. Soul to Soul in Highland Park, and then Inspire School of Dance in Naperville are my two teaching gigs that I have at the moment. Okay. Yeah.
Same prompt, Rose and Thorn, with an I feel statement in there about your practice as a teaching artist. So Thorn. Oh yeah, this actually we had connected about this before. the thorn is felt like not unworthy or unworthy, kind of discouraged. You remember when I was talking about, I wrote about that retention, class retention,
Mm-hmm.
and when I was hearing about that out of class of 6, only one, at least at that point, was signed back, like re-signed up for the spring and winter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, recently, I did find out that more, I think maybe 4, had signed up again,
Hey,
continuing. So
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah. So that's great, but it's actually just it's been a trend after 2020. At least at that particular studio. I'm not sure if it's large. It is, I think, a trend at the studio where the numbers just aren't um, moving.
The numbers aren't numbering.
Yeah, the numbers aren't numbering. They said that they're back with like first 2 years of. They're back at the numbers of when they first, like the first or second year when they opened. Again,
Oh,
which is bad. But what relates to that is this past year I had I think I may have had 5 or 6 classes. That I had an advanced class. It was a advanced for the studio. I had
yeah.
an advanced class where I had maybe 8 or 9, 10 people, kids that were advanced or that have been with me for like 3 or 4 years, and then the entire class. The only 1 or 2 came back this past fall,
Yeah.
and they couldn't make. They couldn't. They just but they moved to another teacher's class. So that class is completely gone. So, yeah, and then I invest all those like hours and
Time and energy.
into them, and I brought them to battles, to community battles too in the community and all that. It was just really discouraging and like upsetting. Like
I understand that. That's real. That's
yeah.
real.
And I was just thinking about I don't know what can I do? Is it like their age? I mean, they were like 2nd, 3rd grade, 4th grade, and they were also into baseball and just competing with the other sports and things. I'm like, how do I, like, baseball is a team sport and you have to win, and
Right.
I was just thinking about also because we also have a battle instead of a recital at the end of the year for the hip hop
Oh, really?
classes. Yeah, we have a battle instead of a recital. Like,
It's pretty dope.
yeah, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Like, how do I make that to where if they lose, like, that's not. How do they dance? Just trying to minimize the
actual competition.
Yeah, minimize the rejection and the losing feeling, and also maximizing like the team.
Yeah.
And like awards type of thing, because you're dancing as an individual, kind of, right, in the battle. Like it would be like 2 or 3 versus 2 or 3.
Yeah.
3v3. But yeah, just trying to figure that out. It's real.
I can relate to that,
Yeah.
It's like, for me, I do feel like the unworthiness sometimes, and a lot of it is, as a kid, I was thinking about this earlier. I was like, man, for me as a kid, like, I got into like sports and all of that, like, fun stuff, like, young, but I also took it serious, but it was also fun. And that was like, I took dance class when I was younger. I remember it.
Yeah.
And I remember actually like being engaged in it, and I feel like I don't get that just like a lot, like with kids I teach now. And so, I'd be teaching a class, and they'd be like, I don't know if I'm coming back this next session because I have like track or something. I don't know. It's things like that. I have another activity. Got theater going on, which is cool. Cause if that's fine, like it's literally cool with me. It just also makes me feel bad. Like, dang, you didn't want to stay in my class. Like, and like we were having fun, and like you're smiling and learning choreography. So that kind of like always gets to me a little bit, especially. And then also a lot of, like, not a lot of my students, but a decent amount of them will like say, oh, this is boring, because they don't want to be in the class in the first place, which is
They were forced to take the class or something.
that's what it feels like when I like am teaching, which I get, because it's like it's cool, but I think there's a point where your kid doesn't want to do the class. Maybe, like, figure out what they like to do.
But if that were me, I would be like, because just any sort of general criticism, I'm like, I always am like, oh shit, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah,
what? I'm not fun. I'm a bad teacher.
that's real. I've gotten like feedback from some of the, like, owners of the studio and other friends that teach as well. Like, how can I make my classes better? And I have learned a lot from that, which is, but we don't know, like, I don't know if these kids want to be dancers. I don't know if they're doing it for hobby. So, like, I don't know how serious to, like, take it, or it to, just be like, all right, we're just going to have fun. But when it's recital season, it's recital season. We have to try to look as sharp as possible. Not actually as sharp as possible, but, like, make sure that your kids have learned something,
For me, it makes me think of, like, on a class-to-class level of, okay, what can I do on the class level to just keep them engaged, keep it fun, structurally?
Yeah.
Like, how do I set up the class to where it's effective, but then also it's fun? Like, yeah, more games, more team things, more partner things.
Yeah.
Like I integrated this Rose and Thorn thing to, like, build a trust and connection with the kids too, in addition to, you know what I'm saying? It was
Yeah.
like building a safe space where they feel okay, but then also, like, on a studio level, like, trying to just borrow from, like, the team and sports, like the baseballs, and there's a game like every other week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
like a performance, and there's like a if you lose, okay, we gotta do some more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how do you, instead of just a recital once a year, how do you get that game type? You know what I'm saying? How do you gamify it like a baseball season? You know what I'm saying?
With like the whole schedule of a class.
Right? No, yeah, so where they feel good when they win or whatever. But then, then there's also, because I also get the feedback of, like, yeah, it's not challenging enough. In that advanced class, we would battle each other a lot, but maybe, I've been trying to, at least with that more advanced class, like, build a schedule of the other kid-friendly battles.
Yeah.
Other than the one that we do during recital time.
Yeah.
But then also, like, they're not, like, the studio's not paying me to do that extra stuff.
That's real.
And
Yeah.
I tried to, So, yeah, to me, it's, I think now it comes down to the balance of, like, how much I should invest into the hour that I'm there,
Yeah.
versus the larger thing of, like, okay, I'm also doing this admin stuff.
Right. So you got, it's a lot, and that's like what we all talk about as dancers, as teachers, is knowing our worth.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, is it worth this for this? Is it you know what I'm saying? It's like, is it worth it? Even though you love to dance and you love to teach, for your time and energy and how much you do, like, should it be more pay? Should it be less? Or if they don't want you to do as much, should it be less or should it be more? Like, there's a whole. I feel like there's a lot of, if you know what I'm saying, in a way.
Especially because it's hourly, like that. It's hourly, and it's not. We're contractors too, and so there's not that.
That is true. We are contractors.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of ideas that I had. Like, I created a whole strategic plan that I sent to the studio owner and stuff, and yeah, we'll see. I think that's a whole separate thing. Like, feeling frustrated and kind of almost, yeah, discouraged, but then also with like trying to improve it. I think kind of almost stuck because I can do as much as I can on the class
level. So I teach out in Highland Park and I teach out in Naperville.
The burbs thing?
The burbs. And I've also taught at other studios, but like subbing wise.
Yeah.
And the hunger difference for kids is so real in different areas. Areas of.
You think it's a location? It's a geographical factor.
Yeah, because I go out to Naperville.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those kids are very hungry. Now, I'm not throwing shade or anything. It's just truth, right? This is just straight truth.
Like, this is what you're observing.
This is what I'm observing. Yeah, exactly. It's like I go out to Naperville. Now those kids want to dance.
Yeah.
Like even like the 5-year-olds and all that, they want to dance.
Yeah. They don't
really. There's not really any problems. I go out to Highland Park. Half the 6-7-year-olds, they don't want to dance. I got a shoe thrown at me not too long ago. Like things like
Whoa.
that. And that's where it feels like it can be a waste of my time because I feel disrespected first off.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I'm out there in Highland Park for 3 hours, but I teach 2 classes.
What's that third hour?
The third hour, it's in between, so I have a class break and then a class.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
But you only get paid for the 2?
Yeah, I only get paid for the 2. And so if I go in there and, we're already off to a bad start, like, I feel like, man, I just came all the way out here. I took the metro out here.
Yeah, it was about how long does it take you to get there?
Like 40 minutes.
Damn.
Yeah, 40
you don't
minutes.
Pay for travel?
No. Yeah. So, I feel like that kind of irks me a little bit. And also with myself, like I said, I've learned from, peers that also teach, like how to control classes better and how to do.
Yeah, class management's the hardest thing.
Yeah, it's super hard. And at a certain point, you're just like, all right, we're going to play freeze dance and, make up your own dance for a class because, like, the kids don't want to, like, in certain places don't want to learn, like, for real. They're like, I want to go home. Can we play, like, a recess game, like a game that you'd play outside? I'm like, we're in the studio. Like, we can't do that. And they're screaming and, like, all this stuff, and I feel like that makes me feel like I'm not doing my job, right? But, like, I'm serious. Like, I want them to learn, but it's not like I'm giving to them, but they're not giving to me sometimes. Other times it's good, it's great. I'm like, dang, we had a good day today. I feel good. I feel accomplished. And other times I'm like, well, like, why am I out here? Like, why am I here right now? Like,
yeah.
I'm grateful for the opportunities that I've gotten,
If I understand it, it's kind of like how do you manage when someone when the dancers are disinterested,
Yeah.
but then also the bad days?
Mhm. Yeah. It's bad days dissociated from dance. A lot of some of the kids are
What?
dissociated from dance.
What do you, like,
Or is that the word? Right? Like they don't want to dance. Like
disinterested?
disinterested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dissociate's like the when you zone out.
Oh, yeah. Disinterested in dance. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where I was saying, like, hey, if that's the case, maybe they want to. Like, I had a kid like a couple years ago that was so hyper, super duper hyper, and I'm like, okay.
Hmm.
And they talk about like, gymnastics, and being like, I want to do gymnastics. I was like, hey, maybe you should talk to your parent about that, because I think that might be a good option for you, because it might not be working out right now in the studio, because it's disruptive, and other kids can complain, or can't, or do complain because of things like that. And I mean, that's just real. I think that's really important, is listening to your. I mean, not that parents don't listen to their kids, you know what I'm saying, but like actually listening, instead of giving up. No, you'll be fine. You'll be fine in class. Don't worry. When they're crying coming in, you're like, dude, like
Yeah.
put them in something else. Make them do something. No, not actually for like that, but in that way, kind of.
Yeah. So but also managing the different levels of interest.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Because you have, that's real. Because you have the kids that want to learn, and then just like the kids that don't. And there'll be like a couple kids that do want to learn, and then the rest are just like all over the place. And you're like, oh man, how's this going to work out? But it ends up working out in the end.
Yeah.
So it's real.
Especially when combining classes, sometimes we'd have age ranges of like 8 to.
Oh, those. So you don't even know what to.
It's hard.
Yeah.
I always wondered, like, how do ballet teachers get their kids to stay in a ballet class? Because
That's real.
boring, right?
Yeah.
How do they keep their attention, or is it just a ballet classes? They attract a certain personality, but the thing is, in order to do competition, ballet is required. Sometimes.
Really? At your studio?
Oh,
Or
at
actually,
studios that I've taught at, ballet
that makes
and
sense
technique
actually.
is required to do, I don't know, the jazz ensemble
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah. No. I also think music, because he's talking about ballet, and how do they get their kids to be engaged. I think is also music choice. Is recently what I kind of been thinking about. Like, I don't know any of these artists that the kids are listening to now. Like, I don't, I
Mm-hmm.
stick with what I grew up with, thinking that, Justin Bieber, like, that's pretty common. A lot of
Yeah,
people, a lot
but
of kids know.
most of his stuff isn't hip hop, though.
It's not hip hop. It's not like,
And,
it's not, what do you say? I can't play hip hop music like that in a hip hop class for kids, because first is a lot of them are explicit.
yeah, you can't play it. You can't play hip hop from the 2020s,
Yeah,
the 2010s.
and my class is choreo class, so it's more just like movement of, like,
You should ask them their what. One of the things that we do on the first day of class is like, what's your name? How long you been dancing? What are your goals? And what's your favorite hip hop song?
Favorite hip hop song.
That's the thing that we go around. Even with the little kids, I also do it to their parents.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you kind of get what their interest is and their background, so you can kind of gauge.
See, that's a good idea.
Yeah, on the first day, there's a first day ritual that I have, and then when you ask them their favorite hip hop song, you'll see like how in touch and knowledgeable are they of hip hop. Like, do they say Bone Thugs and Harmony or Tribe Called Quest, or do they say Ariana Grande? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you'll gauge their connection and their knowledge to the culture.
Yeah.
So you can kind of.
That's real.
And the parents too, right?
The parents, yeah. I stick with, I don't even know the artists that they be listening to these days, to be honest with you.
I just spent a whole maybe hour or two trying to find instrumentals.
Really? Instrumentals, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. I share my roses. There's this one residency at this CPS school that I've been at, I think maybe 2 years now. And I've had a few of the same kids. This last year, it was super challenging. So I felt, I feel accomplished, like very, very accomplished. Because at the beginning of this semester, it was continuing kids.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, it's after school. It's an after school program for the kids. So there's already like social dynamics already in there.
Yeah.
And like it's after school and it's a fun thing and you gotta. So there's all that. Like it's an after school thing. So it's not another class, for learning. So you gotta manage like the different levels of interest and stuff like that there. So and then this past semester was continuing kids in 5th grade, and also new kids in 5th grade that they've been talking about crushes and stuff like that. So there's that dynamic, and there's 2 crushes that come into the class that are new, and then there's also 4th grade that are new and some continuing, and then there's also 3rd grade that's new. So different levels of age, different levels of maturity, different levels of social dynamics, and different levels of dancing.
Yeah.
And there's a whole maybe first 3 months. Usually I spend the first 1 month of just culture building.
Yeah.
Of like I don't really teach too much. It's just getting them used to the routine of the class. Circle time first, warm up, stretch, something here, and then some game at the end. Circle time, warm up, stretch, learning, game at the end. Circle time, warm up, stretch, something, and then like circle time and warm up, stretch are almost always the same. That game is almost the same, and then it's maybe like 10-15 minutes of actually learning something. First month is just culture building. It took me, and then maybe after the first month I can like get deeper, and then that learning portion becomes maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
That's smart.
It took me 2 or 3 months to finally get to, okay, I can move on to something other than basic like bounce, listen to the music, and like easy vocab. 2 or 3 months in there, it was awful, because I had to manage, like, the first thing was like, the fun, like they want to have fun and like all that, and then it was, my crush or ex-boyfriend's in here and I'm too embarrassed to dance. Then it was like, there are some kids that don't want to be in here. Okay, and then I, like you haven't been participating. Like there was maybe 3 or 4 that would always be on the side.
Yeah.
It would be crazy. It would be, and I don't reprimand them. I just let them sit on the side, because to me the safe space is first. But then actually like all of them either went to another activity for after school or they participated in the performance that we had at the end of the semester.
That's sweet.
But it was like, it was just a lot of like, hey, I've been noticing like at the end of the class, I had to bring in like the program manager of like, hey, so you're not in trouble, but you haven't been participating, and you gotta participate. You're not in trouble, but if you don't want it, it's okay. If you don't want to be in it, like we can transfer you to another class. Just think about it. And then they're like, oh no, it's like because we have to do this, and then you kind of like manage that part and mitigate that. And so it was like, oh, actually, it's because of it. It was because this one person, like they had history, like bad history with them, and then that person actually left the class. Or something like that. And then there was like a few others that left, and then it was just a lot of like negotiating between the kids' interests of like and their social things, and instead of
It's like we're not mad. We're not mad if you're not feeling good, or if you don't feel it this day or the other day. If you need to sit, or if
managing the bathroom breaks. Oh my god! So I actually majority of the time I don't. I never say no to bathroom breaks.
Yeah, it's
I never
hard.
say no. I never say no. I just I mean, and I know they're going in there because like it's boring. It's the boring part of class. So I'm like, okay. But then you just talk about it. Like, I noticed that you went to the bathroom multiple times. Everything okay?
See,
but all to say that like 3-4 months of that, out of the 10-week session, everyone participated and it was great. That last month, everyone participated in the recital. I mean, like they actually didn't have a recital at the school. Like I set it up myself. Like, hey, can we do perform or something like that? Some sort of culminating event. I know, like there's always got to be something like that, or else the class isn't fulfilling. And then the parents can come too, and then they'll re-enroll. So like but like the last month, everyone was like there were no conflicts. They were concerned with each other. They were like working together. They had like a section where they had to come up with their own 8 count combo, and they performed that too. It was just I'm just thinking like really accomplished, and I feel really accomplished and proud from the beginning to the end of this past semester with that particular group.
And you should feel accomplished.
Oh, and also negotiating like, all right, we got to do this because the last 15-20 minutes we can have free time, and trying to incentivize that, and like, guys, I can't have free time, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah, that's real. Bathroom breaks. Talk about the bathroom breaks real quick.
Yeah.
I don't allow. I allow once or twice if it's like I'm not gonna go into their business and like how they're feeling, like, or anything. Like if they're like, oh, I really need to go, then I'm like, go. I'm not gonna be like, no, you have to stay in the class. But I have to like minimize it, because last year at one of my studios, these two girls went together, and it's one at a time. These two girls went together, and they were twin sisters, and then they destroyed the bathroom, and I couldn't go in there because I was, ladies' bathroom, and I was like, I was trying to find another teacher, like, hey, can you get my students out there, like something's going on in there. And so ever since then,
there's no like person at the desk or anything.
No, the desk is in the front. Like, this is all the way in the back. So it's like there's a class going on next to it. So I was like, hey, can you just real quick? Because they were making noise. So like the other teachers came out and were like, what is going on? And then they're looking at me like, yeah, like, why'd you let them do that? I'm like, I thought they'd go into the bathroom, So that's why I have to minimize.
Do you have a rose?
A rose, yes. Look, my rose is just whenever I see any of my students just progressing in general. Like, I just think that's
An example?
an example.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't really say, like, I'm not gonna say names.
Yeah, don't say.
Or there's multiple girls in my advanced class, um, out in Naperville that
Uh-huh.
I see when I teach advanced. Like, it's straight up like advanced class. Like, I'm not holding back on my choreography or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like really cool to see like them like take it serious and like actually do like, you know, the movement and like pay attention.
Yeah, you're seeing them like, and then kind of like working on a move or something like that, or what are you seeing?
I see it. Well, I see it like just in when I'm teaching, we go into groups,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, you know, I'll
At the
demonstrate.
end?
Yeah, at the end, and you know, I'll do it with them the first time, and then the second time through groups, then it's by themselves, and that's where I'm like looking, I'm scoping to see who like actually is paying attention. Now, I pay attention to every kid in class. You know, I stare at the floor, I stare up so I can see every like when they're doing groups, so I can see everybody in um yeah. I think that's just always fun, but that's in general like every single class I have, there are students that have progressed.
You like you're saying like how well like how well they've picked up your choreo has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, and just paying attention and wanting to learn more as well.
How do you know? How can you tell if they're paying attention a long time?
Oh, because they do the choreography. They know it. Like, there's a because when you teach, you can teach the like a very simple little 1-2,
Uh-huh.
and then it's like super simple. Like, it could just be a 2-step. It could be like a, you know, and then there's kids that won't even get that. There's kids that will. Now that's not like, you know, some people have two left feet. Some people, some kids, I guess, don't. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
But I like to see. I teach like you know, I teach beginner at every age, pretty much,
yeah.
and it's just cool to see like that whole entire just. It's like, man, you really learned something today. Like, you really.
So how well they're doing the choreo is like it's a measure of their skill progression, but also it's measuring. You can see, oh, they've paid attention in this class too.
Yeah, you know.
It's a measure of their focus too. Oh, okay.
And also, just like, I guess with this Rose is, I like just like to interact with my kids like
Yeah.
all the time. Like, every class I have, I'll make some silly jokes, you know, throughout the entire class, just because it's fun, you know. It gets them like, you know, kind of
Yeah.
comfortable and all that, you know. I like to have fun in class, even though sometimes I have to be strict, which I hate to be strict like that. I really do. Like, it's not fun for me. Like, I want to have fun if you just listen a little bit, you know. Like, you don't even have to listen a lot. You can listen a little bit, and that's fine. But, like, you know, I think that's probably one of my roses is just seeing.
You saw progression.
Saw progression and
Yeah.
and also, you know, also my kids like saying, like, man, I really love this dance. Can we do this dance again?
Oh,
Can we do this dance again?
Nice.
Yeah, you know, stuff like that. Like, that's
nice.
yeah, it's a nice little feeling.
Do you have I feel for that one?
I feel accomplished. I feel happy.
Uh-huh.
I feel, you know, I want to come back again. I feel I can't wait until next week.
Ooh,
you know,
nice.
you know what I'm saying?
Next, let's do our 1 minute buds.
1 minute buds.
Yes. So our buds is some lesson, some growing edge, some learning opportunity or takeaway from today, from something like that, or something that you're looking forward to, and you have 1 minute.
1 minute.
Yeah.
This is Jordan's 1 minute bud, and the time starts now.
Okay, so one thing I'm looking forward to is implementing this skill, will, or hill problem. that I just read about in this article in Psychology Today. So they talked about strategic incompetence, or like weaponized incompetence, where the kid is like pretending to not do well, so they'll like be excused from the whatever.
Yeah.
So then like you're like, okay, whatever. What's the idea that you're trying to do is trying to clarify and categorize the problem that they're having. Like first is recognizing that it's like this strategic incompetence, and then you try to figure out like, is it a skill thing that that's their problem? Is it a
10
will?
seconds.
Or is it a hill, like there's a barrier, a problem? So like, you're coughing under here, let me just work on that. You having a hard date today? Like, let me just talk about that. Or is this hill of like, actually, there's something in my shoe, so you have to do about that. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Skill, will, or hill problem. I'm really looking forward to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, my bud, it's...
Yeah. What do you think? That skill, will, or hill thing?
Skill, will, it's fire, honestly.
Yeah.
I gotta read into this stuff a little bit more.
Yeah, because when I saw that, I was like, my brother does that.
Right.
Like, when we're trying to do chores, like did that, but then also like you recognize, like, they don't want to do it, like, but then you like, I don't know, you on the break, like, everything okay, and then you gather more information, and then you try to figure out a little bit more, because we're like, when you see a disinterested student, like, go and see, like, figure it out, like, instead of right away just saying, they're not meant to be here.
Yeah.
Is it a skill thing? It's that, right? I'm having trouble, like, doing this move as a skill. Or, a will thing. Actually, like, I don't really want to be in this. What classes do you like? Gymnastics? Actually, we can do gymnastics. You can add some gymnastics and stuff in, like, your combo.
Little cartwheels and stuff.
Yeah, you can add it in there.
Yeah.
Or, like a hill of, like, actually, I'm having a bad day. I'm sorry about it. Something like that. Skill, will, or hill.
I'm going to implement that into my.
I'll send that to you.
Yeah, definitely send that to me.
I'll send that to you.
I do try to look out for my students, though. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, that's also why I do circle time, roses and thorns in the beginning, so you can kind of gauge also how they're feeling that day. And you can kind of preempt, like, you be proactive about having a bad day and kind of turn it around, or. Like, there was this one class that I had on the west side, where actually, like, one of their classmates got shot.
Oh.
And so, like, it was a bad day, so he stayed, like, we were just gonna hang out that day.
Chill,
the whole day was free time.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Oh, man.
Okay.
Alright, wait, but, okay.
Okay. This is Noah Snyder's 1 minute bud.
Wait, I'm not even ready for it yet. I wrote it down, but I'm trying to.
Ready?
Yeah.
Noah Snyder's 1 minute bud. And his time starts now.
So I realized earlier today that I grew up very, very talented in a lot of ways, and like, I feel that it's not very natural the way how I kind of like got a lot of talent really young, so picking up things is really easy for me. And I kind of think about that sometimes, and how, like, why aren't these kids picking things up the way that, and like, I just realized today that, hey, not really today, but I was like, hey,
30 seconds.
they're not me. Like, not to be like that. Everyone has their own ways, but like, I can't act like I see myself in them and be like, hey, you got to get this right away. That kind of makes sense. But yeah, so I'm like, hey, this is terrible. I feel so.
Keep going.
Anyways, yeah, I really just like starting to think about how my kids, like, we all grew up different. We all have different learning abilities to learn and everything, and take that into more consideration throughout the years of me teaching.
And time. Is being a little more patient and understanding.
Being more patient. See, I couldn't get because it's a minute.
Not getting frustrated.
Yeah, that minute really.
People have different capabilities with talking under pressure.
No, for real. Because I was like, oh man, I can't even. I was like,
you actually took a minute and 10 seconds.
A minute and 10. Well, if I'm gonna be honest, yours is like a minute and some change too. But we're gonna. Nah, man, that's great though. That's great.
The idea is like we're learning from each other.
Well, I'm always down to talk.
Connecting about the teaching stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on the podcast.
And cut.
Cut.